Welcome back to another episode of our narrated playthrough of Diablo 4 as a badass sorcerer. My name is Arcane with cerulean fried cheddar, and let's get into it.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Quick reminder of what's going on. Elias attempted to summon one of the lesser evils into the world through the sacrifice of a woman named Taisha. We stopped him and then followed him back to his base, where we find out that he's basically immortal now. Since we can't kill him, we steal his super powerful magical artifact, TM, and dip out before he can murder us. End Act 3.
Thank you.
We go back to the cathedral that we were using for our home base and find Lorath with Taisha. Turns out that Taisha still hears the voice of the lesser evil on Dario, and we also don't have a great idea exactly how to stop Lilith. Things are going great.
Well, this sucks.
To try to fix that, we try to use the Sightless Eye, which should let us figure out where Lilith is and give us more insight into her plans.
I must strike before he can resist.
On a positive note, we see Lilith monologuing to Elias that she wants to devour her father while he is still weak. Yay, information. On a less positive note, Lilith manages to win a staring contest with us over innumerable miles. Damn. Well, Lorath doesn't take this well and apparently starts writing on a fully written page, and everyone just goes along with it? I know that Taisha is hearing voices in her head, so she's not the best witness, but what's our excuse?
Have you ever thought about how uncomfortable testicles really are?
Anyway, the letter is due for Donan, since apparently we need his help again or something. When we go to deliver it, we find Inarius having more self-aggrandizing speeches before the masses.
And on my wings, I shall lift us all to heaven!
He is convinced that the prophecy he spouts is about himself, and is determined to be the spear that will pierce Lilith. Didn't that already happen when they made Rathma?
Penis.
Moving past the angel with issues, we deliver the message to Donan and finally learn the plan that Lorath made a while ago. Imprison Lilith into the soulstone that used to hold Astaroth.
Of course.
First though, we have to prepare the soulstone so that it can be used as a vessel without breaking and killing us all. So, small issues. But Donan finally gives us the thing that I have been waiting for the entire game. A horse. Finally, we will no longer have to run on our own 2 feet throughout the massive land of Sanctuary. Now, we have our faithful horse to carry us past the mobs instead. And it only took until level 44. Thank you, Blizzard. So to prepare the soulstone, we have to go back to the Heraldric Vault, where Nevril leaps back into the story. Donan doesn't seem to be very excited to find someone unaffiliated in his fancy abandoned vault, but he'll deal with it. After a quick spider murder spree, Donan tracks down a source of hatred in the world. Considering Sanctuary, I really don't think that should have been difficult, but whatever, it's done. Plus, Nevril charms Donan with words of knowledge, and hey, she's joined the team.
Never mind. You can tell me on the road.
Back at the cathedral, we rejoin the rest of our team, and Taisha immediately walks outside and gets found by Elias, who summons Dario right in front of us. That worked out great.
Savor your breath. One last.
Okay, time to fight a lesser evil, which has been hyped up for literal hours to be this insanely strong enemy that will bring ruin to the world, that will cascade into the end of all things and... oh. It's dead?
I say he did.
Took slightly longer than that, but artistic license, okay? Thankfully, we finished so fast because when we head back into the cathedral, we find Lorath projecting a purple barrier around everyone, looking like he might have a stroke from the effort. You're welcome, Lorath. Anyway, Taisha tells us that Elias stole something from Hawizar that might be related to his immortality. With no better leads, we decide to split our forces and pursue both avenues. The Soulstone for Lilith and the secret of Elias' immortality. And that's the end of Act 4.
Been her goal all along. Not sanctuary, but a bid to reign in hell. And Elias, the damned fool, was too blind to see it.
Now, normally I would just stop there, but that was so short. Let's just go into Act 5. Before we can actually start going through these quests, we have to get some more information. Taisha tells us about Timue, a witch in the swamp who should have more information on immortality. Not to be confused with Tomoe, the lightning blade master from Sekiro. Please, I need the DLC. First though, it's time for us to get helping Donan out of the way. The place of hatred he found earlier is a keep thoroughly steeped in the stuff. Some hardcore parkour later, we find our way into the depths. Unfortunately, Donan is having some performance issues and struggles to attune the soulstone to hatred.
Come on, you old fool. What's wrong with it?
While he stands there looking dejected, we have to fight off something called a manifestation of hatred that keeps zapping us with some red Sith lightning. Like many people with performance issues, Donan seems to require some medication.
Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use.
Fortunately, our good friend Taisha, who we literally saved her life several times, is there to help us out.
And why would I help you?
Taisha sends us to see her sister, who will be able to help us with the necessary materials. Now I get why Taisha didn't want to help us. Turns out that her sister worships at the Church of Lilith. I'm sure Taisha won't be mad when she loses a sister. Right? On a positive note, we did get the Quicksilver. Well, Donan is still having issues, so I guess we need to make some more drastic moves to fix it. Taisha tells us of an age-old tradition of the swamp that should help. Drugs! Donan ends up seeing a vision of his son, who says that he has to go and that he is ready.
My son. Please come back to me. Come back. I shouldn't have let you go.
This causes Donan to break down into tears, but hopefully helps him to be stronger in the future. For us, we get pulled into a portal by Mephisto, who tells us that Lilith is the true threat, not Elias, and warns us that it's in our best interest that we don't let Lilith murder him. I wonder if this is self-serving in any way, huh?
The day of reckoning will come, and your true friends will be revealed.
Take 2 on fixing the soulstone, and this time it works. Seems like digging into past experiences really worked to fix his mental block. Who knew? Finally over with Donan's part, it's time to track down the secret of Elias's immortality with Nerel and Lorath. Timue, thankfully, was actually really helpful. She tells us that Elias probably made a pact with something called the Tree of Whispers. It even tells us how to find it. More drugs. Quick fetch quest of Snake Eyes later, we can start looking for them. Before we get them though, we have to murder Molan, the Snake Queen. First of all, I hate this boss. I don't even really mind snakes, but this boss is miserable. Every so often it tries to petrify you like a basilisk, and it is complete and utter bullshit. The hitbox is awful, there are like 10 of them, and it sucks. The teleport skill I have is supposed to break you out of CC, but if you buffer it with the correct timing, it will teleport you. But then CC you at the end of the teleport by the thing that hit you before you broke the CC. Blizzard, why? Finally, this menace dies and we continue on with our trip.
We wait for the path to appear.
After a bit, we see a gigantic snake come crawling at us.
Menacingly!
When we wake up, we see a miles-long snake and decide that the path must be to follow this thing.
I can see myself in the scales, walking on them like a path through the swamp. The serpent is the path.
Pretty quickly, we make our way to the Tree of Whispers and find a tree with a bunch of the shrunken heads from Harry Potter hanging from it all over.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
It tells us knowledge in exchange for tracking down Elias and making sure that he pays the price for his own knowledge from the tree.
If you have the pea soup, make sure you eat it before it eats you.
Turns out that the Tree of Whispers will provide knowledge at the low price of you joining it as a pygmy head for all eternity.
Little old lady at 12 o'clock.
Wild.
3, 3.5, 2, 1 3/4. Yes!
Anyway, now we know that we need to track down the sunken ship and enter a coffin a la Dark Souls. At least this time we don't have to follow a guide to figure it out. However, before we can get to the coffin, we have to make our way across a bunch of half-sunken ships. In the process, Nerel manages to get bitten and poisoned in her arm. With the only choices being death or worse and losing an arm, Lorath quickly amputates and promises her,
You will be Haradrim, young one. I will not fail you.
coffin time! And just like in Elden Ring, weird shit happens the second you enter. This time, we get pulled down to the depths and wake up into a temple of Rathma. Walking through it, we see shades of Elias as he walked through it seeking knowledge and prepared to summon Lilith.
The only being willing to stand against the eternal conflict, against the prime evils, was Lilith.
At the end of the temple, we find the cut-off finger of Elias, kept here to keep him safe in an immortal coil. We take it, and an Indiana Jones-style trap triggers. With the water rising up around us, we die. GG, time for Diablo 5. Well, we wake up a few moments later instead. The run is still saved. And then we burn the finger in a fire, ending the immortality of Elias forever. Back at the keep, it's time to attempt to attune the soul stone again. This time we have a few additional helpers, Taisha, Lorath, and the one-armed Neyrel, plus Elias, but I don't think he's here to help. This boss fight was about as straightforward as the last 7 against this guy. We even have the help of Taisha this time. I'm not really sure what she did, but I'm sure she's great. However, what follows is one of the dumbest decisions by the characters in this story so far. With Elias on the ropes and willing to accept death knowing that he will be reborn, our character tells him that he's not immortal.
I have been to the deepest chambers of the sunken temple, Elias. You have no secrets from me.
Which convinces Elias to run the f*** away instead of sitting there quietly and dying a final death. Why would you do this? Why would you ever do this? What could possibly convince you to make such a dumb decision?
Have you ever thought about how uncomfortable testicles...
Well, Elias lives due to our actions. Time to track him down, I guess. Thankfully, we had injured him a lot earlier, so we catch up pretty quickly. Elias, on his deathbed, revels in his actions and calls Lorath a coward.
Was it worth it? That is a coward's question, Lorath. It suits you.
With the bird from the Tree of Whispers as our witness, Taisha murders Elias.
Elias of Aronok.
Oh, spare me.
Of your own free will, you swore an oath to the Tree of Whispers.
This is not the life I deserve.
The tree does not forget oaths, and it does not forgive debts. It is time to let go.
And then the bird decapitates him and takes the head back to the tree. So during this time they did manage to attune the soul stone, thankfully. But Lorath isn't content with just doing that. With the words of Elias calling him a coward echoing in the back of his head, he went to the Tree of Whispers and paid the price of eternity on the tree for knowledge.
Lilith has been 2 steps ahead of us for far too long. The tree knew where to find her. I asked. Its answer was worth the price.
Knowledge that Lilith is going to use the gate to hell under Chaldeum to enter and absorb Mephisto's power. The stage for the final confrontation with Lilith is set. Will we win? Will anyone die? Well, time to find out. See you guys next time and hope that you all are doing great.